Business Growth Talks podcast is created and hosted by Mark Hayward. In this show, we talk about how to grow a business in the growth stage. The growth stage is often marked by rapid developments, increased revenue, and an escalating customer base. In each episode, we talk to entrepreneurs and business owners who have grown businesses, and we cover topics like scaling processes, market expansion, financial management, human resource and talent development, and customer retention. If you are looking for actionable advice, tips, and techniques on how to grow, run and build your business, this is the podcast for you.
Today, we're going to talk about the troubled sale of Manchester United. Manchester United is, in theory, and probably a little bit controversially, the biggest club in the world. And there is a sale at the moment, and there are many nuances to it, which I'm going to cover today. So what I want to talk to you about is the sale of Manchester United. So it seems to be an ongoing saga at the moment. One of the most iconic and decorated clubs in world football. Since the Glazers, so this was a Glazer family that took control of the club in 2005, their ownership has been met with widespread protests and demonstration from fans who have accused them of placing financial gain ahead of the club's best interests. So I'm going to cover these items quite quickly, and then we're going to go into more detail later. So the Glazer family's ownership they've leveraged the buyout of Manchester United and saddled it with massive debt of the amount of £790 million, which has had a significant impact on the club's finances. The Glazers have also been criticised for their lack of investment into the club's infrastructure and for their decision to increase ticket prices and further alienate fans. So there is talk about that really bad training facilities. The club is saddled with debt, as well as that things like the stadium, supposed to be called the Theatre of Dreams, is now crumbling, and they have not reinvested into the club. So what we now have is there's been a bid by Jim Radcliffe in August 2022, which is now extending into 2023. He's a lifelong Manchester United founder, and he announced that he was submitting a bid to purchase the club. Now, he is the founder and CEO of Ineos Group, a chemicals and plastic company that has promised to restore the club to its former glory and invest in its infrastructure. There has also been a bid by Sheikh Yaseem. Now, Sheikh Yaseem bin Hamad Altani, which is a mouthful, is a member of the Qatari royal family and submitted a rival bid to purchase Manchester United. Sheikh Yaseem is the chairman of the Qatari Investment Authority and the country's sovereign wealth fund. He has also stated that he wants to take Manchester United to be the best club in the world again. So we're now going to go into further details about the Glazers, Radcliffe, and Sheikh Yaseem. The Glazers family, they acquired in 2005, which means they borrowed a huge amount of debt to be able to buy the club. They have not financed, they have put their debt into the finance of the purchase, and it has created a financial burden for the club and limited its ability to invest into infrastructure and players. In addition to the debt issue, the Glazers also criticised the lack of transparency and their focus on financial gain. They have been accused of taking money out of the club through dividends and other payments while not reinvesting enough money back into the club. This has meant many fans feel the Glazers are not interested in the club's long-term success, but rather maximising their profits. So Jim Radcliffe, lifelong fan, submitted the bid. His bid was seen as a positive development by many Manchester United fans who were hopeful that in his hands, the passion of the owner would be much better than the Glazers' reign. And also Sheikh Yaseem has also seen as a positive by the Manchester United fans, just because of the huge financial resources that they have, and he has the expertise to restore the club to its glory. So now we're going to go into the issues around the sale of Manchester United. So one of the issues is the valuation of the club. The Glazers family reported valued the business, Manchester United is, at £6 billion. And it is a major sticking point in the sale process. The valuation is significantly higher than the valuations of most other Premiership clubs, and it has been made difficult to find a buyer willing to take on the Glazers' asking price. There are several reasons why the Glazers may be seeking such a high valuation. First, Manchester United is one of the most famous and successful clubs in the world with a large global fan base. This gives a club a significant commercial valuation, with the Glazers maybe factoring into that valuation. Second, the Glazers may believe Manchester United's future financial prospects are strong. The club is set to benefit from a new television deal from the Premier League, as well as expected to generate significant revenue from commercial partnerships. However, many potential buyers believe the Glazers' valuation is unrealistic. They argue that Manchester United's on-field performance has declined in recent years, and that the club's debt at 790 million is a major financial burden. They also point to the fact that the other Premiership clubs that have been sold for much lower valuations. As a result, the high valuation, the sale process has been slow and difficult. It's been running for at least a year that they've been discussing this. But they have reportedly received bids from several potential buyers, but none of these bids have been enough to meet their asking price. So quickly, we're going to go on to the debt. So as I've said a couple of times, 790 million pounds worth of debt is seen as a major obstacle for sale. The debt drain on the club's finances and its limits to his ability to invest into infrastructure and the players. The potential buyer would likely have to take on this debt and make further strain on their finances. This is a major concern for potential buyers, as it could be difficult for them to compete with other clubs. Now, this is a part that I haven't talked about, but this is a sticking point. The fans. Fans of Manchester United, some are thought to be the greatest in the world. Some are thought to be, they call it prawn sandwiches, i.e. they're more interested in hospitality than the actual club. But let's go into the detail of the fans. They have been very vocal of their opposition to the sale of the club when it was to the Glazers. They staged protests and demonstrations, and they called for the Glazers to leave the club. Fans have several reasons for their opposition to the Glazers. First, they believe that the Glazers are not interested in the club's long-term success, but rather maximizing their profits. Secondly, they are concerned about the club's debt and the high valuation the Glazers are seeking. Thirdly, they feel the Glazers have not engaged with the fans enough, and that they have not done enough to improve the club's on and off-field performance. The fans' opposition to the sale has made it difficult for the Glazers to find a buyer. Many potential buyers are reluctant to purchase the club if it means that they're facing protests and demonstrations from the fans. Sorry. So the future sale of Manchester United is uncertain. The Glazers have said that they are open to selling the club, but they have not given any indication of when or who they will do it to. It is possible that the Glazers will eventually lower the valuation in order to find a buyer. However, it is also possible that they may decide to keep the club, as they may believe that it is worth more than they are currently being offered. The outcome of the sale will depend on a number of factors, including valuation, debt, fans, and the willingness for potential buyers to meet the Glazers' price. Right, I'm going to conclude on all of the things I've discussed so far. So potential sale of Manchester United has been a long and winding road filled with controversy, uncertainty, and hope. While the Glazers family ownership has met with widespread disapproval, the prospects of a new owner brings a sense of anticipation and possibility of a brighter future for the club. The issues surrounding the sale are complex and multifaceted, with high valuations, club debts, and strong oppositions from the fans being a major hurdle. The Glazers' desire for a substantial return on their investment has made it difficult for buyers to willing to meet the asking price, while the debt burden and fans' protests has further complicated the situation. However, the sale also represents an opportunity for Manchester United to break free of the shadow of the Glazers and embark on a new era of ownership that could lead to a return to former glories. A new ownership could bring fresh ideas, financial resources, and a genuine passion for the club, which could translate into improved on-field performance, a closer connection with the fans, and a more sustainable financial future. The future of the sale still remains uncertain, but the potential for a change in ownership holds the promise for a brighter future for Manchester United. The club's rich history, passionate fan base, and global reach makes it an attractive proposition. And if they find the right ownership, could bring a rejuvenation to the club that desperately needs this. Look, that's been my thoughts on Manchester United's sale. It is changing. There's been a potential investment with Jim Radcliffe for 25% of the business. There are so many moving parts in this, and I don't think it's going to be resolved. Probably in 2023. Who knows when it'll all be resolved if Jim Radcliffe actually buys the whole of Manchester United. Hopefully you've enjoyed this interesting deep dive into Manchester United, the football club, and the different areas that are playing the factor in the sale.
Thank you for listening to Business Growth Talks. This podcast is released every Monday, so don't miss an episode by subscribing to all podcast platforms, including Apple and Spotify. Have a great day.